The new Stranger Things Season 4 is finally over, and for the most part, I think it was kind of good. Now, before we get started, I have to say there are a lot of things coming out in July. A lot. My work is really going to be cut out for me for the next month, so please have patience, and I'll try to deliver everything as quickly as possible. Now, for starters, I really didn't think I would like this new season, and I spent a huge chunk of time in my last video talking mad shit about seasons 2 and 3. While I still have my opinions on the show that I'm going to hold on to for now, I think for the most part that the season is pretty fun to watch through, but it still has some issues. To get the bad stuff out of the way first, the biggest issue for this season is still the Russia subplot. The other subplots were actually way better and more engaging than the Russia shit. The Russia shit really bogged down the show's pacing. Episodes are already really long this season, and part of it is to cram in this subplot that almost nobody cares about. I sadly still think that Hopper should have just stayed dead. It would have really helped the story if he just stayed dead. One good thing about this new season is that we spent a lot of time establishing a new villain. Once again, I still believe that villains are really good when you can sort of relate to them, and Vecna is no exception. I think for a show like this, for a villain to have lines and motivations is way stronger than any of the past threats we've had in previous seasons. Vecna is not that complex of a character, but he doesn't really need to be. He's threatening, and he has a back and forth that works really well with the main cast that it could carry on for the last season. I also like that this season returned to the horror vibe that was present in season 1. This season was actually a little scary, and when these characters use the runtime to unravel a mystery, we know just as much as them, and it makes reveals more entertaining to watch. Which is great because in the past, the show has had stuff that we sort of had to infer on our own, which isn't as fun to watch as the audience as it was to watch something we had no knowledge about this season. This season was like one big Scooby-Doo mystery, and this story going back to basics is definitely what the show needed. This season is also surprisingly brutal. In the past, we haven't had that much gory and brutal deaths, but it's honestly pretty fucked up to watch here. For the new goriness, this show kind of scored some extra points with me. It's just really nice to see the series being horrifying again, reminding us why we liked it so much in season 1. Now, the show's usually really good about bringing all the plots together at the end, but the adults are really forced into the story here. There's sort of a weird hand-fisted explanation on why and how the adults can be a part of the climax. Like, maybe the kids need our help, or maybe there's something we can do here, in Russia, across the planet. It really does just feel like the writers didn't know what to do with them in this season, and that's a shame. Elle's subplot was also slowing down the show for me during the middle of the season. I eventually came around to it at the Papa episode, but just like the Russia subplot, it just overstayed its welcome. But I gotta say that the stuff that works well in this season really works well, like extremely well. For me, the editing has been an unknown hero for the show. I didn't talk too much about it in my last video, but the sequences are usually done very well, and I like how it uses the scene's environments for the sound effects.
Well, somebody has to attend to the customers.
Especially if they're babes, right?
Hey, not fair.
It makes the scenes a lot snappier and unintentionally enhances the performances of all the actors here. And once again, the characters are still the best thing about the show here, and it does not hold back this season. They really did pick an amazing cast to sell some of this corny dialogue and these Scooby-Doo plot points. And the Vecna plot was the driving force for the entire season, and will definitely be the driving force for the next season. Stranger Things is really good at the mystery, thriller, Scooby-Doo crap, and for some odd reason it took the writers a long time for them to realize this. If you're like me and most audiences, you loved everything that happened inside of Hawkins, and you really got to enjoy all of your Hawkins favorites. I liked everyone in Hawkins. I like Steve and Robin, I like the new lovable face, Eddie, and I loved Max's arc all the way through. Max really got a lot to do and a lot of love this season, and possibly had one of the best scenes in the whole show, and that's not even up for debate. With how everything ended, they really need to keep everyone together for the last season. Don't make any reason for them to branch off off, no more dumb plot lines with Russia or any other useless crap. Keep the overall focus in Hawkins or with the main group. If you do this, then there is real hope for the final season of the show to be the best season. Overall, this season was actually pretty worth watching. I still do genuinely hate shit about this show, but I can't help it. I'm still going to be watching it the entire time. At the worst, it's mindless fun and entertainment, and at its best, it's genuine emotion for a cast that we've watched grow through the show's runtime. If you like this show, then you probably love this new season. If you kind of stopped caring for the show and don't know what to expect coming back, I think you will be pleasantly surprised. I was in a good mood after watching this, so this new season of Stranger Things is gonna get an 8.5 out of 10 from me. And real quick, because I promised it, here is a list ranking of each season from best to worst. Looking at it, I don't think anyone's gonna have an issue with any of these rankings, and I genuinely cannot wait to see how this show comes to a satisfying conclusion.